If you've been thinking about moving to a different country, that's the best video you could have found in order to decide whether you need it or not, because today I will be talking about pros and cons of living abroad. So if you're interested, please keep watching. So talk about my experience. I've lived and studied in 4 different countries. I come from Russia and I studied there. Then the first country I moved to, it was China. I've been studying there and living for 7 months. Then I moved to Latvia to study. I've been living here for 3 years now. And I also took a semester abroad in France and I've been living there for 4 months. So this is my experience. Now for me, obviously, it's easier to come to a new place and maybe not to have the strong culture shock. In this video, I just want to give you maybe real life situations, and I will speak about some things people don't usually speak when they want to inspire you and move into a different country. So let's get started. I will start with the advantages, and the first and obvious advantage is an opportunity to widen your borders. That's actually a great way to learn to accept some of the things which maybe you cannot influence. It's interesting to learn something new and to take something new from somebody. When you move in abroad, you see how other people live. So for example, for me, moving to China was the biggest culture shock I've ever had, because before moving there I hadn't visited any other country but Moldova, which is super close to my home country and didn't differ that much. For me it was the biggest culture shock, and I had different stages. I was trying to deny some things and stuff like that, but then after all of my experience I learned how to accept the things which you see in a new place. People are different, but they were raised like this from the very childhood, and they don't know how else it can be done, for example. And the best thing you can do is to share your experiences and then to choose the one you like most. That's the idea, to exchange an experience, to share it, and that's my favorite part of living abroad and in communicating with people from different countries. And then of course meeting new people. You can learn so many things from people who come from different countries. You can learn more about their culture, their language and their mentality. Again, it's another way to learn how to accept many things in your life. You exchange your experiences, not only cultural, but your life experiences. It's actually another thing I like a lot about moving abroad. And another great thing which you can do with new people from new countries is to practice languages with them. If you're interested in learning different foreign languages, make sure to see this video where I speak 6 languages. Another aspect which I only came to after several years of living in different places is finding out more about yourself. The thing is that when you move to a different country, and well, it doesn't even matter if it differs a lot or not very. Anyway, it's an opportunity to find out more about yourself, because you don't know how you will react to certain things. Because when you live in your country, you live in a very comfortable environment, because you can understand and speak the language which is spoken in the country. You know where to go, who to ask, and you have most probably your family you can come to anytime you want. But when you're in a different country, you don't have these opportunities, unfortunately. But maybe fortunately, it depends on how you look at this aspect. The absence of these opportunities, it makes you step out of your comfort zone, obviously, and it makes you stronger. Again, if you're ready to accept, and if you're brave enough to accept all the challenges which are going to come, you just find out how strong you are. You find out how you react in these difficult circumstances, how you learn to speak a new language, how you learn to communicate with people you haven't met before, for example. So this is obviously a challenge, and again, it depends on you how you go through it. I think that the last advantage which I can mention here is finding new hobbies. Here I can give an excellent example of living in China and in France, because in China people, for example, like dancing on the streets in the evening, and I think it's a hobby for many Chinese people. They dance in the evenings, they do martial arts in the evening together, so they have this very strong sense of community, of course. And if you go to China to live there for some time, of course, you will see and maybe, oh my, I also want to dance, because my groupmates and I, we danced outside with Chinese guys, like with elderly Chinese guys, because that's mostly a hobby for elderly people. So that's a thing I wouldn't have learned living in my home country. And the thing about France, for example, I know that one of the most popular hobbies here there is sailing. So living in France, I would really love to try. So this is just how you find out about more things and more opportunities. And now let's go to disadvantages which you can face. Again, it depends on how you look at these disadvantages, because some of them can be disadvantages, some of them maybe not. So let's see. First thing is being far from your family. For me, I cannot say that it was like extremely difficult. I think during my first experience when I lived in China for 7 months, it was pretty hard because of different time zones, because of like you were 8,000 kilometers away from your family. It can be hard, especially if you are close with your family, if you're used to, I don't know, visiting your family like every day or every week, it can be hard on you. But if you don't have this close ties with your family, maybe it cannot be a problem. Again, it depends how far you live. For example, well, of course, if you live in China and your family lives in the central part of Russia, it's very far away. But again, if for example now my family lives in the central Russia and I live in Latvia, it's not that far away. But because of other circumstances, I cannot come home, unfortunately, and it makes it really hard because I miss my home badly. But I just don't have an opportunity to go there right now, so it can be pretty hard. So be prepared. If you want to go abroad in order to escape your problems and to build this new beautiful life, most probably you will not be happy after moving. Moving abroad as a way to escape, it's not the best decision ever, because most probably the same problems you had in your home country, you will have them here in a new country, because nothing actually changes. It's just the background, Yeah, new people, but you are the same person. And if you didn't try hard in your home country, most probably you will not try hard in a new country, because it's even more difficult to try hard here. Because here you're a foreigner, and in most countries, if you're a foreigner, it's harder for you to find a job, it's harder for you to enter university, it's harder to do anything. And if moving abroad is only a way for you to escape something, don't do that. Another thing is culture shock. If you've never had culture shock before, it can be hard for you. You can read on the internet about it more, how it works, what stages you can have, to understand why you have the feelings you have. Because I know some people who, after moving to another country, they decided to, I don't know, to stay in their room, in their apartment, not to meet people. And it's a very easy way how to get depression after moving to a new place. So here, you should evaluate this adequately if you're ready to take a challenge, if you're ready to experience this culture shock. Because if the culture is absolutely new, you know nothing about it, well, obviously you will have a very hard culture shock, and the chance that you will get out of it, it's lower than if you find out something about the culture, you start learning language, and then it can be easier. I will be talking more about how to facilitate the process of culture shock in a different video, so if you want to see it, please let me know in the comments below. And last but not least is new language, of course. Language barrier. If you don't have an experience of learning any languages and you just cannot even imagine how it's done or something, you are obliged to start preparing beforehand. Because if you go to a country and you know nothing about the language, about the culture, about anything, it's just a disaster. If you go traveling somewhere, it can be the option, because you know that your traveling is like your trip is for like 1 week. But if you decide to move to a country and you know, for example, that in this country people don't speak English, well, there is no way. Like, you have to learn how to communicate with people. It can be, again, a big problem, because it can cause depression, and it can cause a wish to stay at home and not to communicate with anybody, because, well, if the language is new and you're afraid to learn it, you're afraid to speak, it will just make you feel super uncomfortable. So if you're not ready to take the challenge again, don't move. If you're ready to take a challenge, think about it in advance. Be prepared that you may feel confused, depressed, sad about certain things, but then have this idea that it will get better. Because yeah, I'm finishing with these disadvantages, but the idea of this video is to prepare before you move in abroad, to make sure that it's your pure decision to move abroad because the country is nice or something, but not because you want to escape from something or you want your life to magically be improved after moving. It doesn't happen. It makes it even more complicated. I mean, moving abroad makes your life even more complicated, believe me. So, but know that even if you have this strong culture shock, in the end there is light, and if you try your best, you will get the acceptance of everything going on, and it will be the best outcome of your culture shock and all the troubles you may have after moving. Yeah, again, keep in mind that it's difficult, but it's possible, and it can give you the best experience ever. So let me know in the comments below if you're going to move anywhere. I will be happy to read and see you in my other videos. Bye bye.